So every year Redmi, they tweak their Note series devices to offer some pretty impressive specs for the price. And I would love to say that this year is no different, but this year there is a slight difference. But that's in a good way. As a matter of fact, I think they've packed this thing with a couple extra features that most flagships just don't have right now. The Redmi Note Pro Plus devices have always been at the top of the food chain as a premium flagship. However, this time around, it actually feels like a true premium flagship device in its class. And I mean, you get this curvy, modern, elegant design that gives you this nice premium feel with some good ergos, and it feels really comfortable in the hand. The weight distribution is not really even, but it has this really balanced feel in the hand that it just makes it feel like a really premium device. And this new camera island design just makes it look and feel a lot more expensive than it actually is. And if you put it side by side with any one of the other previous Redmi devices, this is going to look like it's in a totally different class by itself, and almost like it's a more expensive, modern phone. Especially if you cover that little Redmi tag right there, then you won't know. You would wonder, like, what brand, what phone? I'm just saying. I mean, look at that. I'm really liking this 6.67 inch AMOLED 120 Hz HDR10 Plus Dolby Vision display that is on this device. That also has a peak brightness of 3000 nits and a resolution that is higher than Full HD, but it's just not quite Quad HD. It sits in the middle. However, this display is very sharp for a mid-tier device, along with some really thin bezels on a curved display that is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2. And fun fact, this is one of their highest rated drop protection devices. I mean, there you go. There's another flagship level feature that you find on more expensive devices. So here's the magic in this display. It's actually a 12-bit panel in the DCI-P3 color space. And what this means for you is it actually shows way more shades of the primary colors. This increases the color depth, which leads to a smoother transition of colors, and also reduced banding, which also produce more accurate color transition while watching movies and videos, especially HDR content. Trust me, you just can't get enough of how content look on this display. It also has a really true stereo speaker setup that sounds really good. Dialogue sounds pretty natural coming across the speaker while watching videos, podcasts, or anything. You got some really nice highs and mids with some really decent bass that kind of like just bring the thing together, make it sound a lot more cohesive. Plus, it supports Dolby Atmos audio and 24-bit 192 kilohertz iris audio playback from this device. Another key thing to highlight here, they have finally ditched the MediaTek Dimensity chipset that has been in all the previous models, in all the generations previous to this one. And they have now switched over to the brand new Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 4nm octa-core processor. The model that I have here is 12 gigabytes of LPDDR4X RAM and 512 gigabytes of UFS 2.2 storage, which is pretty good, pretty decent. You can shoot a lot of videos or store a lot of videos, so when you're offline, you can watch all the content you want. I'm just saying. But it got enough RAM so you can game, and it does game like a champ. And just in case you didn't know, the S in the 7S means selected features, and that is because they made this chipset really powerful and affordable by focusing on a few selected features that makes this phone really special, such as the generative AI support, the gaming performance support, a triple image signal processor dedicated to photos and videos, the audio processing, as well as the built-in DAC and amp, along with a few other things that really enhances the performance and the overall experience of this device. It also has a massive 5110 milliamp hour battery inside this really thin phone that is way bigger than most other flagship that I have right now or that is out there. Really big battery. That gives you some really good talk time and standby time while you're going throughout your day. And another cool feature that this smartphone has that most other flagship don't have is the 120 watt hypercharge. And fun fact, unlike most other brands, you do get the 120 watt adapter to charge the smartphone inside the box. They charge it from 0 to about 100 in about 35 plus ish minutes, give and take, depending on your phone, the day, the use. I'm just saying, it all depends. But you know, within that 35 to 40 minute range, you have a full battery as soon as you plug it in. I've noticed when I plug it in, I've never really sometimes think about when I plug it in, but I do know as soon as I plug it in and I come back and I check, I'm like, oh, snap, it's full. So I do know it is quick, very quick. As far as the camera is concerned, this has a brand new Samsung S5K P3SP ISOCELL sensor with a f1.7 23mm wide angle lens with phase detection autofocus and optical image stabilization, along with a f2.2 15mm 120-degree ultra wide lens. And like I've said so many times before, I am just gonna skip past these 2 megapixel cameras and stop talking about them completely until these companies get a hint and stop putting these low res 2 megapixel cameras inside these smartphones. I'm just saying. With that, you can shoot 4K at 24 and 30 frames per second and 1080p at 30 up to 120 frames per second. And you do get a 20 megapixel front-facing selfie camera that can shoot 1080p at 30 up to 60 frames per second. So how do the photos and videos look coming out of this thing? Well, I have to say, I think they look Wouldn't you agree that it looked pretty decent coming out of this mid-range smartphone? I mean, there is always room for improvements with the detail, the sharpness, and the skin tones, but overall, it does look pretty decent. I'm just saying. You also get some AI features in the camera to help enhance the photos and videos, as well as the post-processing, such as the AI film, AI ultra clear portrait, and the motion tracking capture, the AI beauty, and the dual video, as well as the image expansion and AI eraser pro. There's a lot of other AI features that really enhance the overall usability of this phone, such as circle to search by Google, Google Gemini, you do get Google Gemini on this one, AI interpreter, AI note, AI recorder, AI subtitle, just to make your life and work that much more simpler. This is a really good mid-tier smartphone for the money. I mean, it is not perfect because there were a few corners cut to arrive at this price point that it's sitting at right now, which means there may be a couple cons that might strike it off of your list, such as the 8 megapixel and 2 megapixel macro camera inside this phone gives out so-so images sometimes, and also there is no telephoto lens inside this one, but you do have a telephoto lens in the China version. I mean, why didn't they just go ahead and give us a 50 megapixel, just like the China version, a 50 megapixel ultra wide camera inside of this model like they did instead of the 8 megapixel, and then they could have went ahead and just give us that telephoto lens that they put in the other model, and then they would eventually have a 50 megapixel telephoto, a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and the 200 megapixel main camera. And that way they could call this the Redmi 14 Note Pro Plus Ultra smartphone. That way this thing would be unbeatable for about $550. I mean, at that price, this thing would be flying off the shelf. They wouldn't have enough hands to sell them. I'm just saying, they should have went ahead and did that instead of this. You know, it seems like, you know, you have to trade this for that. It's a tit for tat. I don't know, man. I'm just saying. But, you know, it is what it is. Also, I mean, there's no 4K 60 coming out of this main camera. Why? I think the chipset is more than capable. I mean, if you didn't give us 4K on the front, then you should have just go ahead and reserve all of that power processing for 60 on the back. That's just my opinion, just saying. I could be wrong. And for this model, it is a budget model. We've known for years that all the budget models had SD card support. This one don't have any micro SD card support. Why? I mean, you do get a large storage, 512. I think that's the max. But even then, we're still getting large storage, but SD card support. So this one doesn't have it. And also, there is no wireless charging. I mean, a lot of people would have loved that. Even the lower standard would have been worked out really well. But I mean, we're talking about the price point here. Some stuff they have to just admit. And one of the biggest annoying things about this smartphone is bloatware overload. There is a lot of useless apps pre-installed on the smartphone. I don't know, maybe that's the best way they could have done it, to give us it at this price point by loading it with preloaded bloatware. The good thing is you can uninstall some of those, or maybe all of them. However, with all of that said, this still have a lot more going for it in its favor than those kind of trade-off, because as I say, some of them is just, I don't know, they could be categorized as nitpicks. Maybe, you tell me. But it has so much going in its favor versus those. Such as this really beautiful modern design. It is a real breath of fresh air compared to previous models that they have had over the years. The build quality and the material choices, and also the extra durability that they have put in. They have packed some really nice durability inside of these phones. Plus, I mean, the new Ingress IP68 dust and water resistance, which is flagship territory kind of thing, in my opinion. Plus this new 200 megapixel ISO Samsung sensor, which is kind of a shift from some of the other ones that they used before. I'm not sure if this is a little bit more high res, because it's still pixel bin with these 200 megapixel sensors down to I think about 12 megapixels. So I'm not sure if this one is a little bit more high res than the other ones, or what is the deal, why they choose this one. But yeah, this new 200 megapixel sensor, I'm pretty sure over time, as they tweak the software in the camera, it could get better. You do get a great battery life in this one. Plus, I think what's even better than that is 120 watt hypercharge. Can't beat that. This amazing AMOLED display with 3000 nits peak brightness in a budget phone. Plus that gaming performance and the stereo speaker setup that is really loud and sounds pretty good too. You get some great haptics on this thing. Plus that fingerprint sensor scanner is really fast and accurate. I am absolutely surprised at how fast this thing and accurate it is out of the box after one setup. You can update to Android 15 out of the box. I know you've probably seen some videos where there are some reviews, or read some reviews where they're talking, oh, there's no Android 15 on Reddit, wherever. No Android 15 out of, you can update to Android 15 right out of the box. You know, as soon as you take it out of the box, it's like, hey, what you doing? Update Android 15. And you get 3 years of OS and security patches, updates after you buy this phone. It's pretty good. And the key thing to note, you get a premium quality, premium looking device out of the box for a relatively budget friendly mid-tier price. And I mean, even if you're saying that the upgrades they made to this is not as significant compared to the previous model, I still believe that this is a more significant update compared to the easily forgettable 13 Pro Plus model from last year, and the ones before that are even more easily forgettable. I don't remember them, but this one, I'm never gonna forget this camera design and the overall touch feel, the curved display, and all the other stuff that they had to this one to make it feel like it costs a lot more money than it actually does. I would suggest to Redmi, I don't know if you listen to, I don't know, a little small voice in the corner saying, keep this camera, Highland, because I think it is a really good move going forward with all the new iterations. You know, just like all these other flagship phones, they have a signature camera that makes them stand out. Keep this camera design. I mean, you could always tweak it going forward, but I think this is a good move. That's just my 2 cents. However, if you like the Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus, Let me know down in the comment section what you like, what you don't like. What do you think that I didn't mention in this video? I think I talk about as much as I needed to say, but if you think that there's something I didn't say, tell me down in the comment section. If you like videos like these, click my face to get subscribed. Let me know down in the comment section how you feel about this video. And yeah, click the like button on your way out. And yeah, if I say subscribe, just look at the subscribe button. It should be lighting up right now. Just click it if you're not subscribed already. Thank you for watching. It's your boy. Big up yourself anywhere you're there in the world.